waited and he didn't appear. He said, he didn't appear in our time and I'm going. He didn't say, I don't know anything about it. He said, he didn't appear yet and we are going. He said, you might see him. Sheikh Abdul Kerim was preparing the world for that appearance. He was preparing the world to protect ourselves from the fitna of Dajjal. Although he was banned from Turkey, he built a Jamaat in Turkey. He built Jamaats in Europe, in India, in Southeast Asia, in China, in Bosnia, in South America. All over the world, people were entering this tariqat through his work. And when he traveled, he was a light entering the darkness. He was exactly like the Salatul Taj. It's describing the Holy Prophet ﷺ, the beloved of the poor ones, of the strangers, of the miskin people. When he went to India, people would just see his face and they would begin to cry. He was praying for them. He was feeding them. He was showing care to them. People who had been forgotten by this cruel dunya, they were not forgotten by Sheikh Abdul Kerim. He was praying not only for the Muslims, he was praying for the Hindus, for the Buddhists, for other people too. His mercy, like the Holy Prophet ﷺ, was for the Ummah. He was building the work of his shaykh all over the world. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Shaykh Effendi the test of Hazrati Ayub alayhi salam. He was tested with sickness. People don't know this. We were with him. Those strong hands that Sheikh Abdul Kerim had, they could not even open. His body was on fire when he tried to move. No cure was working. The only cure he found was that he took the bees and he let them to sting him, and he's getting that bee therapy from the animals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed and mentioned in the Holy Quran, that they are working through divine inspiration. At the same time, he went through the test of the prophets like Nuh alayhi salam and Lut alayhi salam, that even the people inside his house, they were abandoning him, betraying him, hurting him, breaking his heart. But Shaykh Effendi just said, Hasbinallah wa ni'mal wakil. And he continued the way. He continued the work of his shaykh. Even in that pain, he would drive 3 hours to New Jersey, in every weather condition, to see the Jamaat and to make zikr. Even in that pain, he would travel to Cyprus to continue the work. A normal person, maybe he was going to die in that pain, but Shaykh Effendi stood and continued, and he was patient. And just as his health was coming back to him, he saw that his time on this earth for now was finishing. He told the murids their instructions of how to continue. And to some, he told exactly what was going to happen. He went himself and visited the place that he was going to be buried. And on the 10th of Sha'ban, 1432, the 30th of June, 2012, he was veiled from this world. We say veiled because Shaykh Maulana says veiled. Shaykh Maulana said they took him to the other side now, behind the mountain of Kaf. You understand? To the side of awliyas. The strong ones are on his side. They made him disappear from here. This is just a taste of who our Shaykh is. If we have a lifetime, we cannot describe him, because Shaykh Maulana said that Shaykh Effendi lived the lifespan of 50 men inside one lifetime. But we can say a little bit more about him. He was like Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq in his defense of Shaykh Maulana, in his hizmat for the truth, in his total sacrifice for the way of Allah, and for his tenderness in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was like Hazrat Umar radiallahu anh in his secret, caring for people, in his sense of justice and his speaking up for haqq. He was like Hazrat Osman in his total and complete generosity and modesty. He was like Hazrat Ali in his wisdom and in his charisma and his knowledge. He was like Hazrat Hamza in his power and his bravery. He was like Hazrat Hussein in his sacrifice and his submission. And his voice was like the voice of Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam. He was beautiful, like Hazrat Yusuf. And yes, we say what Hazrat Aisha said. If the companions of Zulaykha had seen our shaykh, they would not cut their fingers. They would cut out their hearts from ashk. He had a dream like the dream of Sultan Osman Ghazi. He had a goal like Sultan Mehmed Fatih Khan. He could build a civilization like Sultan Suleiman. He had the worrying and care for this ummah like Sultan Abdul Hamid Khan. And like the martyrs of Chanakala, he gave his life in the service of Islam, the service of Khilafat. We cannot describe him. It is as Hazrat Abul Hasan Harqani Qaddasallahu Sir is saying, people cannot describe me. No matter what words they use or what category they put me in, I am other than what they say. Let us call him what he called himself. He was an Abdullah. He was a servant of Allah. He lived with that title. He left this dunya with that title. He is living again with that title. His invitation to the whole world was this: be a servant of Allah. Be an Abdullah. Be an Abdullah. His life, his character is perhaps described best in the words of the Pir of our Tariqat, Waja Shahin Naqshbandi, who said, the men of Allah do not admire what they are doing. They only act out of love of Allah. This is just a fraction of the reality of Sahib al-Saif. If anybody wants to learn from him, they can come. His work continues, the service continues. May Allah give us the strength to continue this way.